Santa here. You know, the true spirit of Christmas is giving, and my friend Danny McGee knows that very well. His annual toy run with the Agape Projects helps bring joy to children who need it most. But to reach this year's $80,000 goal, we need everyone's help. So grab your cocoa, hop online, and make your donation at theagapeprojects.org. Together, let's fill hearts and stockings with love. Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch transfer.
It's probably the least sexy part of the work, and I don't have the answer. It's okay. No, it's fine. The truth is...
Today, I'm sitting down with Jason Clark, the Chief Marketing Officer at Via Studio, a creative agency that's been helping mission-driven organizations, nonprofits, and public institutions bring their brands to life for over 25 years. With more than 2 decades of experience in the creative industry, Jason has guided organizations through everything from rebrands to multi-channel campaigns, always with the goal of aligning teams, building trust, and sparking meaningful change. Along the way, he's earned Gold Addy Awards, AIGA Louisville's Best of Branding, and even their only Visionary Award. But Jason's story is about more than awards and campaigns. It's about creativity with a purpose. He's learned what it takes to lead through change, to turn challenges into lessons, and to use brand building as a way to strengthen communities. And I'm really looking forward to this because when I get down to Kentucky where he's at, he's going to take me on them bourbon trails. How's it going, Jason?
Let's go to those bourbon tours. I'm in. I've got at least 4 that you need to see.
All right. I've never started a podcast with this question. I would believe it or not. Well, it's a 2-part question. Number 1, are you a bourbon drinker? And number 2, if so, what's one of your favorite bourbons that everybody should taste?
Right. So living in Louisville, I think you have to be a bourbon drinker, or your card gets revoked as a native Louisvillian. Right? Yes. So yes. Every now and then we get bored and we go off on tangents. I'm also a really big fan of absinthe. That I've been able to find some pre-prohibition absinthe from the early 1900s that's been
really
freaking phenomenal. So yes. But that's an aside. We'll start with you're answering your question first. Favorite bourbon is an aged rye. So probably not super brand specific, but some really good ones. Angel's Envy rye, Old Pepper is a good, probably just mid-shelf rye that's really good for old fashions and whatnot. Sazerac rye obviously is a great one. And then you get into the higher tier, really collectible ones, and the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection Sazerac 18-year-old is the best juice on the planet. Absolutely. Really? But unless you've got $2,000 to find a bottle, you're never going to taste it.
Yeah, no. When you spend $2,000 on a bottle, I'd be afraid to open that thing.
Well, if you want to hear a story, we actually, back before the bourbon rush that's happened in the last 10 years, I actually found a bottle of Sazerac 18-year-old rye Buffalo Trace Antique Collection from a liquor store. We got on their waiting list and they called us and sent it to us. And my father-in-law came to town that Thanksgiving, and he loves bourbon. He lives in Nashville. We're like, you got to taste this. Mm-hmm. And we gave him a pour, and the next morning we go and we wake up and we look in our liquor cabinet and there's like, you know, probably
Very little left.
20% of the bottle left. And that man drank the whole bottle. And we were like, buddy, that was meant to like impress you and like taste it. You were not meant to drink that whole damn bottle.
Wow.
So now he gets 1 or 2 tastes from the top shelf when he visits. And then we go to the middle shelf.
I didn't even realize that was out there. I'm going to have to look for it. And I didn't know, what was it? Angel's Envy Rye?
Angel's Envy Rye. It's really good. Yeah.
I love Angel's Envy bourbon. I didn't know they had a rye.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I don't know how hard, you know, because I live in Louisville, all the bourbons
you
are
get
here.
everything, right?
Exactly. So I don't know what their distribution looks like. So holler at me and we'll mail you a bottle.
So were you guys devastated down there when the Buffalo Trace distillery flooded out?
Not devastated because they've just expanded their rick houses. They did a billion plus expansion over the last few years. So
wow.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, obviously it's terrible and the Buffalo Trace campus is one of the best ever. It's a great tour. But they're insured. They'll be all right. And, you know, I honestly, like lately there's been a little bit of a decline in the popularity of bourbon because it's everywhere now. So I think it'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, you have what do they say? Often imitate it, never duplicate it. So you have a lot of the imitators out there.
Right.
But, and like that thing, that bottle I showed you or that brand I told you about before we started, I have no idea how it's going to taste. It may taste good, but I think what sells it is the bottle and the pour on the top.
Right. Nothing beats a good gimmick.
Yeah.
That's a marketing tactic. We can talk about marketing tactics, right?
Wow. Isn't that funny how that blends in?
Absolutely. Right. Differentiation.
I want to talk about marketing, but I want to find out about you. When you were in school, was that your focus? Did you always want to do marketing?
So I start my sophomore year of high school. This was the 80s, mind you. So I was a metalhead.
All right. Yes.
So I would get to my classes about, you know, early, and I would just draw heavy metal logos on the chalkboard all the time. And my psychology teacher, she was like, Jason, you should get into graphic arts. I had no idea what graphic arts was. And there was a vocational program, and RIP vocational programs, because this made my career. Yeah. My junior year of high school, I went to a graphic arts vocational program. I learned how to run a printing press. This was before the age of the Macintosh. So I learned how to do layout on a light table and make the plates in the camera room and put them on the press.
Real work.
It was a real craft. And now people want that kind of thing again because it's so rare and tactile. But my junior year, I did that graphic arts program. My senior year, I was top of my class in high school. So the kind of the reward for that is you got a co-op position at one of the colleges in town. Mm-hmm. And so my senior year of high school, in the afternoons, I left and I worked in the print shop of Bellarmine College, now university. And I haven't stopped since. So it's been, I don't know, almost 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah. My wife gets mad because I've never worked in a restaurant, and that's like my dream job when I retire.
To work in a restaurant?
Oh, yeah. I love food.
Yeah,
and she's just like, you'll hate it. You're going to hate it. You've been spoiled your whole career.
Oh, my God. I talk to a lot of chefs because I always wanted to be a chef. I wanted to go to culinary school. I'm glad I didn't now. Because some of these guys I talk to, the headaches, the long hours, and then if you own your own restaurant, it's even worse.
Right. Yeah, that's why everybody that I tell that, just like, oh, Jason, bless your heart.
Yeah. So, you know, stick with what you're doing. Just do all the branding for the restaurants.
You'll be all right. Yes.
All right. And I got to ask this now, too, because I graduated 81. I was a big metalhead as well. Who's one of your favorites?
My wife hates this, but I will always listen to Slayer.
I had a feeling.
Always.
I had a feeling when you mentioned graphics. I'm like, the first thing that popped in my head, I said, I bet he was drawing the Slayer logo on the chalkboard.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
oh man,
yeah, and I'm pretty open minded about music, so I'll listen to anything. But I'm not very. I haven't kept up. Metal is not my thing anymore. So, right. I'll have a friend that's still metal and be like, have you heard of that new cattle mutilation album? And I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm not 17 anymore. I'm not angry at the world.
It's funny how our taste in music changes over the years. Cause I remember growing like new wave, Duran, all that stuff. I could not stand Thompson Twins, all that. And now, if it comes on the radio, I can actually sit there and listen to it before I would turn it off, which is weird. And one of some of the bands I really hated was like Queen. I couldn't stand Queen.
Oh, they're incredible.
They are.
Yeah.
You learn to love them as you get old. You appreciate it more.
Well, I think it's an identity thing. Like when you're young,
that too, yeah.
You need to identify with something, right? Like you need to feel like you're a part of something. So music, especially in our era, was that thing that defined you, right? Because I would piss off my metal friends even back then, and I would put on Whitney Houston in the car and oh, I want to dance with somebody. And they get so mad at me. It's like, you're a sellout, Jason. It's like, whatever. Whatever.
You were Wendy Rolling before Rick Rolling was a thing.
No doubt.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think back then they would have done the same thing. They would have pushed me out of the car if I tried that.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of my point. I'm an old school troll that way, I probably.
All right, so with the branding, and you've been in it for a while now. Back in the day when you first started, what's one of the biggest, most successful campaigns that you remember doing, and how would it have looked today with the changes in marketing and everything, especially now that from printing press to digital?
Work that I had actually worked on?
Yeah.
Sure. This is I guess this is an interesting one. It's the first one that comes to mind. I worked at an agency, and at the time I was, they called me the Flash Master because Flash was a big component of the web. Right. And I got really into scripting. So like where design and, programming come in, right? You can animate things. You can do a lot that you had never been able to do before. So at the agency I worked for, they called me the Flash Master. And one of our big clients was GE Appliances. And what we initiated a program that essentially, every year they would fly in all their area sales managers to Appliance Park here in Louisville and have a conference about all the new products were coming out, product training, sales training, all of that stuff. So before streaming video came, we essentially did what we called it the e-launch program. So we developed a series of CD-ROMs and video training using Flash and Director, neither of which really exist anymore.
Right.
And essentially made like a set of 4 to 6 CD-ROMs that we sent to area sales managers around the world for GE Appliances. Saved them millions and millions of dollars in the fees that it used to cost to fly everybody into Appliance Park and do that. And that just wouldn't exist anymore, right? Like you could just distribute that on the web as, on YouTube now. So, that was probably millions of dollars worth of work for us as an agency that is just not something you would need to do anymore.
Do you think, from what you're seeing today, and again, I'm thinking back when you started with the printing press, do you think the artistic value has gone away?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No. You're talking about kind of the craft of design?
Yeah.
Sure. No, there's a whole scene. I mean, so you go even to like old school things like, letterpress and screen printing. Those have really seen a resurgence. It's kind of like the vinyl resurgence, right? Like people that really love music and musicians buy vinyl now.
Sounds better.
Yeah. We, back to bourbon. I actually bought a barrel of bourbon last year and branded it. A barrel. This is the second time I've bought a barrel. So
Jesus.
But we did a series of 3 labels for it.
Okay.
And the labels I designed and I got printed at a letterpress shop that's run by a friend of mine just because I wanted it to have a feel to it.
Right.
And there's an elevation now that if you create something and there is some kind of craft put to it, it's noticeable, That's also gets into the gimmicks that we'll probably get to. What can you do to differentiate? And on a value level, on a brand perception level, that's still really important. Mm-hmm. On the digital level, it's gotten more, and the kids are better at this than we are, but they're doing this with real style videos, like portrait, real Instagram, TikToks. The video quality of people doing things with phones is insane.
It's ridiculous.
And I don't like scrolling the feeds, but you have to give credit to those young people that are doing work in that area that has never been done before. So there will always be craft.
I never forget, I had a young filmmaker on not too long ago, and he was talking about that, how you can use your phones and everything, and just how amazing it is. But one of the things that he wants to do, and he may have already done, I have to look. He wanted to do a short film in 16 millimeter film. It's just sort of like what you see Quentin Tarantino do a lot.
Yeah.
He says just something about that grainy result that you get out of it.
Can't replicate it. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, that would be pretty cool, because I love the Quentin Tarantino films anyways. And I think it might be something with that, the way, I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. All right. So looking back, what do you think advertising as an industry got right in the past, and what do you think it often got wrong?
In the past, in the past it was easier but more expensive. So you had 3 television channels, you had a major newspaper in every city, you had magazines, you had billboards. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that it had to get right there was the art and copy. So they did that right, and there's so many campaigns that you can think about going back, into even the early 1900s that are just super interesting. Mm-hmm. That's what they got right. The problem now is there's a volume factor. There's our attention spans can't dwell on that. What was the Apple campaign? Think different. So that was a campaign that would probably be very hard to do today, because you have to just sit on an image. You've got 2 words and an outline of an apple. And that is something you have to sit down and it has to kind of sear into your brain for a couple seconds before you get it. And I'm just not sure that would play in today's world, because there's, you see video, if anybody that scrolls Instagram sees, you see an ad as you're scrolling, right? All the time. And you have to catch people in that first 0.2 seconds with some kind of video, really. So you can't make them stop on that image with think different and associated fairly abstractly to your product. I just don't think that could happen today.
No, I always think back, I believe it was Isuzu when they first came here, before Joe Isuzu, their billboards. I'm pretty sure it was them, but I remember driving down, I think it was I-95, and I saw a billboard and it just said I. It's like, okay. And then I think it was a couple weeks later, IS. So throughout the weeks, it just spelled out Isuzu, and I think it was something at the end is Isuzu is here or something. But everybody's it's like, what the hell is Isuzu?
Right.
But it worked.
Yeah.
Not as good as Joe Isuzu, because Joe Isuzu was who's the mayhem guy now? I can't even think about it, for the commercials for insurance. Oh, crap, it was. All right, I'll draw a blank on that one. How has community trust in institutions, nonprofits, and brands changed since you first started working in the field?
It used to be one-way communication, and now it has to go in both directions. So there are, and we've done a lot of work in the nonprofit and kind of organization space. If you aren't listening to and being active with your constituency, you will fail. And that used to be like PR, communications, and marketing used to be separate things. Like advertising and marketing used to be one way. And so if you're not actively engaging with your constituents in some way, whether that's just responding to them on social media or having some kind of town hall situation, or, you know, there's a feedback loop that is required now that wasn't necessarily always required, because there is so much that is competing for your attention span and your dollars. So it's rare that somebody's going to, you know, become a member of an institution and let that credit card payment renew every year without some type of acknowledgement that, yes, you are one of us, and yes, your feedback is valuable, and yes, we want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Now, do you think it's important, especially for the nonprofits and even small businesses, do you think it's important that, I mean, we know a logo is important, but it takes time for that logo to be recognized. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody knows the Coca-Cola logo, Pepsi, and all them. But do you think it's very important for the head of a company, nonprofit, or whatever to put their face out there as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have to. I mean, this is, we just passed the information age. There is probably an argument to be said that we are now in the identity era instead of the information age. This is the identity age, because you see this in, unfortunately, politics. You see this with brands. You see this everywhere, is people like to be defined by the things that they spend money on or pay attention to. So honestly, that is something that we talk about when we're rebranding an organization, is you need to give them something to hold on to that they feel like is theirs and they feel like is true and meaningful. So we just did a rebrand for a forest and arboretum in Kentucky here called Bernheim, and they had been apparently trying to change their logo for 40 years because it was very basic and didn't really define them. And we came up with this beautiful new logo that was so authentic to who they were and what they represent that it was impossible for their board not to approve it. And I can send you, after this, I can send you a link if you want to. But it is this just glorious image that's could be a leaf, it could be a tree, it could be a series of paths that also kind of looks like stained glass. So there is a reverence to the logo. There's a few different meanings that are kind of baked into it. And it is something like, if you've been to Bernheim Forest and you've hiked on their trails and you've seen the art that they put out there, you will understand that connection between the place and the brand.
Yeah, I'm looking at the logo now. I like that.
Right? And it was, you know, and there was a whole brand strategy process to get to there. You don't just set a designer loose and say, you know, design something meaningful for this organization. It took months to get there. But once we landed on it, it was obvious. This is it. Every other idea that we were pursuing was, you know, 4 or 5 tiers under what this one was. This is obviously what we need to do.
I want to go to this forest now. I'm looking at it. I mean, that's
we win.
Yeah.
Visionary award deserved.
I would have never heard of it. I went to your, well, unless you said something, but I'm also on your website too. So, that is sharp. I like that, though.
Thank you. And again, like if you instill meaning deeper into something, it will resonate on, even if it's not overt, even on like a subconscious level, it should work somehow, and it should be able to last, 10 or 20 years.
Storytelling's very important as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's, the brand guide for them. It walks you through that story. Again, the logo is just one part of it. A brand is an abstract perception of something, right? So if you don't have all those pieces and parts and you can't say how and why, then it might not last that long.
All right, this may be, well, no, it's probably not a hard question for you, but it'll be something that a lot of people definitely need to listen to with this one. Because with social media and AI and constant digital noise, what do you see as the biggest challenge for brands trying to connect with people right now?
Yeah, it's the noise. It's that simple. I mean, unless you have a really active constituency or a team, you just have to throw money at it. And I hate that. There is, I mean, even on, the social media isn't social media anymore. It's algorithmic media. Yes. Right? Like you're scrolling your feeds and it's no longer what your friends and who you follow are posting that day. And, it's what does Instagram think is going to keep you on Instagram longer? So it's weird AMSR. It's all these other things. So unless you spend money on their ad platforms, you might not cut through. So that's an unfortunate part of this era that I'm really unhappy with. Right. And I hope people take control of their attention span soon. I hope they realize what these big social media companies are doing, because it's manipulative and it's not helpful for society at large.
Yeah, and they're always trying to change that. Who was it I was watching? It may have been Gary V. Even said that social media is not it's engagement. Right. That's the important thing is engagement, because a lot of it has to do with the algorithms. You may not even follow somebody, but you're constantly seeing their feed all the time. Right. And it's like, well, I don't want to see that. Well,
so they're either paying the social media company so you have to see that, or the algorithm thinks that you want to see it even though you say you don't. And unless you block that account, you might keep seeing it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I just had somebody on yesterday, and of course I went to their website before they came on, and I went upstairs. I was sitting down watching something before they even came on, and all of a sudden, guess what? There was a commercial for their company. I'm like, right. I just looked up. It's like, damn. Right. It's scary.
Yeah. There is also
Big Brother is watching, man.
Yes. Well, and there are data brokers that are doing things with your data that, like, even I don't have access to, because it's so sneaky and it's so underground, and they are making millions and millions and millions of dollars by creating a profile of you in a few different places and being able to pick from that profile to subtly manipulate you or sell you ads or sell ads to you. And it's not necessarily for the best. It is like and again, I don't want this to get too negative, but it is the thing I worry about the most, because it's the thing that needs regulated right now in the advertising industry.
Yeah. And all right, looking ahead, and I'm glad we're talking about this right now, because this is kind of scary too. Well, to some people it's scary, some maybe not. But what role do you think artificial intelligence and emerging tech will actually play in shaping the future of advertising and branding? I mean, we're seeing it now in a way.
Yeah. I mean, somebody like Mark. So on the very corporate big money side, somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, Meta, Facebook would say, is all you have to do is have a product, and just tell me you want to sell that product and how much money you want to spend, and AI will generate all the ads, all the copy. You don't have to do anything but give us money.
Right.
I think we're decades away from that if it even ever happens.
I hope it doesn't.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely don't think it will happen or can happen. But that's kind of the corporate visionary future situation with advertising. Right. Right now, there's a lower level of helpfulness that AI has in kind of supercharging work that exists. Brand strategy work, copywriting work. It is very useful in the agency space right now. But it's more about making our work more effective than replacing people or processes. It's more of a what we call a force multiplier. Like, if you want to help this organization, there is a level of, if you're not using AI, you are probably not doing your clients a service because you're not being as efficient, or, an AI you can ask an AI, like, what am I not considering with this batch of work that I've just done?
Right.
And you can ask a person that, and they've got their own anecdotes and experience to draw from. But if you ask an AI of that, it's got the whole, it's got exponentially more data to draw from. So,
right.
So again, like, I think as an assistant, it will continue to be useful. And honestly, it's on the regulators and us as a society to decide how far we want to let that get its fingers into our lives, into our pocketbooks, and into our ethics even. So that's an important conversation to continue to have. And I need people to know that they have agency here, the lowercase a agency. You can decide that you don't want your opinions to be shaped by what you're scrolling.
Yeah. Yeah. I use AI for the podcast, for the show notes.
Yeah.
I mean, it cuts down my work, whereas 8 hours is now a 1 hour job. I mean, now, as far as doing a podcast recording with AI, no. Yeah. And I've heard some of them do that. I actually did one episode, and I made it clear, this is not me. AI is taking over, and it was scary as hell.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like me, thank God. I mean, it didn't have that Baltimore accent. Yeah. You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. When it comes to car care, I'm pretty picky about who I trust. That's why I only use American Auto Repair and Joppa. Whether it's a simple oil change or a complex repair, they handle everything with professionalism and precision. So if your vehicle needs a checkup, head on over to American Auto Repair. Join me in supporting a trusted local business that's been keeping our rides safe and sound for 20 years. Check them out at American Auto Repair Inc. .com or call 410-679-6500. Again, that's 410-679-6500, and see why I trust them with all my automotive needs. Actually, with the future of advertising and branding, what excites you the most about the future of it?
Honestly, now that I am one of the dinosaurs, so when I was, I'm headed towards my mid-50s, and, when I was in my 20s, I looked at people that are my age now and be like, oh, I got this. I can do this, because they can't, like, that generation had such a level of hubris that there were a couple, there's at least one agency owner here in town that said digital was a fad. It's like, we're not going to get into that because it's a fad.
Right.
So honestly, I'm excited. Like, what are the kids going to do to make our lives interesting? Like, I still like to think that I'm an innovator and I can come up with new ideas and whatnot. But, like, again, back to what the kids are doing on things like TikTok and Instagram Reels and with video, I'm not that guy. I'm not, I've never been on TikTok. I don't intend to be. So I want to see what you all are going to come up with that is interesting, that is engaging, that helps people take their agency back, that excites people, like I want to be a follower now. You tell me what we should be doing. And that's what excites me, because if I had the hubris of some of the people that I'd needed to hire me early in my career, that just sounds like a miserable existence to think that I have it all figured out,
With marketing and with cell phones and talking about these influencers and everything. And I saw this in the DJ field. Thank God I retired from doing that.
You got the voice for it, though.
Oh, well, thank you very much. but as a mobile DJ, and when streaming audio came along, it killed us, because there were DJs out there that thought they were a DJ because they could stream the music. Well, number one, it's illegal to charge anybody if you're streaming the music. But they were, talk about cutthroats. Charges $75 to do a gig, or $75 an hour, which is cheap as hell.
Yeah.
Do you see or think that some businesses and organizations are hurting themselves because there are so many people coming up that think they are a social media marketer or website designer or a pro in this, because, even though they never went to school with it, they just think they know what they're doing? And I've seen it happen here where it hurt businesses. You understand what I'm trying to say?
No, I hear you. So the analogy from when I was coming up in my career was that it was so easy to pirate software.
Yeah. Thus
call yourself a designer. So before the .com crash, like 1998, 99 or so, there were so many people that called themselves a graphic designer, because, again, you can download Photoshop and you can make graphics. So now I'm a designer. Those people never learned the fundamentals. They never learned how to attach that to things like business goals and strategy, so that when essentially an economy crash kind of shook out all the jobs and everything, they had to find something else to do because they were the least qualified to be in that field.
Right.
People that were qualified to be in that field and had the training or the intuition or whatnot to do it the right way and to, understand process and structure of the kind of work that you were doing, they were fine. I was fine. Mm-hmm. So I think the same thing with how easy it is to do marketing now. You're going to have the innovators that are like, again, there's always new technologies, and those people that are constantly experimenting. The people that like figure out the YouTube algorithm. I've never watched a Mr. Beast video before, but that apparently that person and his team have been so just laser focused on what the algorithm is and how to get their content elevated in that algorithm. Like, unless you have that level of focus with something new, you have to know the fundamentals. You have to know strategy and structure. Like, just being good at one thing is probably not going to get you that far. So I would say companies need to continue to focus on putting out a good quality product that is worthy of marketing. Marketers need to either continue to focus on the fundamentals and strategy, or get really good at something very, very niche. Like SEO companies, like I've dabbled in SEO because I have to, but like there are companies now that just do SEO, and they'll charge you $50,000 a month to keep you on the top of the Google search. So that, I don't think most of those people were educated in the universities for that. They had to have that laser micro focus. So you have to pick one or the other, or you have to find another job.
Well, and the other thing is too, and I'm glad you mentioned SEO. I think SEO may soon be a thing of the past in a way, because you do it. Well, in a way, because you do a Google search. Remember the old days of Google? You did a Google search. You would see the ads on the side.
Yeah.
And you would have the ads, the first thing right there. But you do a Google search now. What are you seeing?
Oh, it's all
You're
ads.
seeing what AI provides.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're not seeing all the links to the websites and everything right away.
Right.
It's changing. The other thing is, I forget the name of it. It's not SEO, but it helps with voice activated devices like Lexi and all that. I don't want to say her name because she'll come on. But I forget what they call that. But you're seeing that's coming or making a big headway too, because even TVs, you could talk into the remote and it'll pull up something for you.
Right. Right.
So it damn, man, this stuff is changing like crazy.
Well,
Holy
again, back to the fundamentals, though.
Yeah.
SEO only requires you to have really well-structured content.
Yeah.
And to have really good content.
Mm-hmm.
So that is content that educates or inspires or has a point of view or perspective. And again, that's a fundamental. That's if you want to cut through, people ask us about GEO now, which is generative engine optimization. Like, how do I show up in ChatGPT if somebody asks for the best?
Maybe that's what I was thinking about.
It might be. But again, like there has been no qualitative data that we have seen yet that shows that you should be doing much different. Right. You need to be putting content out there. You need to be either educating your audience, inspiring them, or, you have to think of yourself as having an audience. So what do you do? And it doesn't you're putting things out into the world. The search engines and the LLMs are surfacing them for you. So you either give up because it's too complicated or you do your thing. And if you want to stay in business, you got to do your thing. We've got a really big B2B client that's got, it's in an industry that is not sexy. It's B2B industrial style offerings, but they've got a YouTube channel with 50,000 followers. They've got, essentially a university for what they offer.
Right.
And they are killing it. They are absolutely killing it. And, we're essentially in a support role for them because their content machine is so darn good. And people say, I've gotten calls that I want to be as good as these people are. And I'm like, okay, can you invest in a YouTube person? Can you invest in a writer? Can you invest in a CMO? Because internally, you're going to need probably, $500,000 to $600,000 a year worth of internal HR resources, people. Mm-hmm. Unless you want to pay us double or triple that in agency rates, right? Just being honest. So if you want to be on top, if you want to be, into the 9 figures size business, you have to invest. You have to invest in that content and that marketing. And if you don't, you're really just hoping that you'll grow.
All right, I have to ask you this because I'm going back to the beginning here. We were talking about bourbon.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as you know, when you're pouring bourbon, if you want to chill, you want that nice, clear ice cube in there.
All right.
Tell me about this thing you guys did for Forge Clear Ice.
Forge Clear Ice.
My God, I'm going to have to. I want to hear about it because now I may have to go. If it's a product, I might have to get it.
So Forge Clear Ice is a product of GE Appliances.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. They have an innovation lab here in Louisville, Kentucky called First Build, and it's a maker space that is connected to the University of Louisville, and their mission essentially is to generate products that will have a shorter time to market than what GE Appliances has been able to do in the past, right? So a new refrigerator takes, I don't know, 3 to 5 years and $1 billion worth of research to get out into the market. Okay.
Damn.
I might be exaggerating. Forgive me. But it's a long time and it's very expensive. So their mission with First Build was to see what they could get out into the world with a shorter time frame and more innovation and quicker time to market. All right.
Right.
Their first product that we helped launch was called the Opal Nugget Ice Maker. So people that like the chewable nugget ice, they had the first item on the market that was just a countertop appliance that could make that ice. And let me tell you, I love it so much. I've been through 3 of them now. They're great. Yeah. So the clear ice maker was an idea that spun out of First Build. And so to bring this to market, they did an Indiegogo campaign. We spent a full Indiegogo, like a crowdfunding campaign. But before we launched that campaign, we spent a full year building an audience for this product. So we had the concepts. The design wasn't entirely finished, but it was being completed.
Right.
We had an audience that was very specific, and we knew that we could target. So we essentially went out on all the social media platforms. Do you love cocktails and bourbon? Do you understand how important clear ice is? Like that beautiful sphere that you can see straight through. And we had we generated an email list of probably 40,000 people before the product even launched. So that was essentially the market test. Like, is this worth building? And then, once you get to 40,000 people, okay, if we need to sell 10,000 of these, then I think this is worth pushing the button on, right?
Right.
So then we launched it on Indiegogo. It blew away their funding goals in, the first 5 hours or so.
Damn.
Yeah. And it was expensive. I think, at launch, it was probably I don't remember correctly. It might have been like a $500 to $700 spend, because you've got the ice maker that makes the clear ice. They called them gems. And then you have the press that presses them into spheres. Beautiful setup. And they've actually, through market testing and as part of, I think they're part of the GE Monogram line now, it's just the ice press. They don't sell the ice maker anymore. So what you do, well, you essentially buy the ice gems because it's just cheaper to produce clear ice,
right,
on a more like a bigger level than an ice maker at home. That was the really expensive part. But so now you get the ice gems shipped to you and you press them into the spheres at home with the ice press.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it was a really fun campaign. Obviously, I'm in Louisville, so bourbon's a big thing. So I mean, this product is still being showcased at events like Bourbon and Beyond and whatnot because everybody loves it. And let me tell you, you have a cocktail party with your friends, and you bring that out and you press them a clear ice ball for their.
It's impressive.
Yeah, and it's just it's one of those things that nobody needs, but. Like you said, storytelling is so important. The experience is so important. The craft is so important. Like, these are the things that make life rich and worth enjoying and living. So you put one of these on your countertop when you've got friends over and you're serving them a drink. And let me tell you, it's a conversation.
And those of you listening, trust me, if you drink bourbon, any type of whiskey, use the giant clear ice cube because it does make a big difference. Some people will say I'm nuts, but it does.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike the regular ice that you're getting, which melts quicker. It's something else. Now, here comes the bartender in me, because I went to bartending academy when I got out of the Marine Corps, and my father told me to get into it, and there was, I'll never forget this, the bar downstairs behind my father's bar was that little red book that had all the different cocktails in it.
Mr. Boston's Bartender Guide?
Yes. I didn't even realize that thing was still around. What did you guys do with that?
So that was honestly, that was probably my favorite web project I've ever worked on.
Okay.
So Sazerac, the parent company of brands like Buffalo Trace, Pappy Van Winkle, Blanton's, all the good juice. They actually bought the IP for Mr. Boston. So this was, there's a Mr. Boston line of essentially well drinks and mixers and whatnot.
Right.
It's actually a product line. But they also had the Bartender's Guide, which goes back, I don't know, probably like to the early 1900s at least.
Yeah.
So this was really fun because they essentially came to us and asked us what can we or could we do with this? And so we did a little bit of research and just looking around it and understanding how valuable recipes are for SEO.
Yeah.
I mean, that like it's unbelievable what having recipes on any kind of food or beverage site will do for traffic.
Oh yeah.
So we had, we got an idea. Hey, why don't we digitize these books? So we went off on eBay and all these other places and found as many versions of the Mr. Boston Bartender Guide as we could. And we had those digitized and we created a database of recipes that essentially you can go on the Mr. Boston Bartender Guide website. You can search for an old fashioned. You can see how it was made most recently and like what the most recent kind of canonical version of that is. But you can also go back to like 1920 and see how the old fashioned was made in 1920. The other feature of the website that I just absolutely love is you can search by ingredient. So if you say, so if you go to the website and you search for, let's say tequila, like you're looking in your cabinet. Okay, I've got tequila, I've got simple syrup, and I've got lemons. So you can do it, and so the Mr. Boston Bartender Guide, which has thousands and thousands of recipes, will just give you those recipes that have tequila, simple syrup, and lemon, right?
Wow.
Which is really, really fun. So that's, we built that site, I think in 2018, 2019. And it's still one of the ones that I loved the process. I loved coming up with the ideas for how this could be useful. And I love that it's still alive and kicking.
I love the fact that you said it also gives the history of the drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I have a funny feeling that's where Anders might, Anders Ericsson.
Yeah.
He's okay. The bartender always doing the videos. I wonder if that's what he's using.
That's a good question. Yeah. I kind of wonder if it's been ingested by the LLMs because there's so much great data on it. There's also,
I know what website I'm going to be saving now.
Yeah. Even there's a history page on that site that even talks about, when the Mr. Boston Bartender Guide came out, gin was the primary spirit in the United States.
It was during Prohibition.
So the number of gin recipes is exponentially higher than everything else. Yeah. And then as you get imports and like more global trade, things like vodka and tequila start to like ramp up in the recipes. And you can see like global trends and how the world has changed in that data. And again, like we don't manage that website anymore, but I wish we did because I'm still in love with it.
Well, get it back. I think what you need to do, not for the company, but just for you, you need to come up with a metal bourbon, a heavy metal bourbon.
I was really disappointed that Metallica released a bourbon and it's made in California. Yeah, I think it's called Blackened.
Oh wow!
But yeah, it's made in California, so it's not really bourbon.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, that's and that's a gimmick that a lot of bourbon brands are doing now is adding a celebrity to it. I mean, if you've ever been to Nashville, you'll see the Jason Aldean bar with his own whiskey brand and that kind of stuff.
I didn't know that either.
It's a big deal. Yeah. And
I mean, I always think of Sammy Hagar with Cabo Wabo.
Cabo Wabo.
I think, and The Rock, his tequila line.
Yeah. Well, who
Which
was it?
ain't
Ryan
that bad,
Reynolds.
actually. Oh,
Ryan
yeah,
Reynolds, I
has
think
one
he
now,
sold
too.
Aviation Gin for like $1 billion, really just because it had his name on it. So again, like it's not great. I mean, it's good gin. It's not great gin, but
Right.
people will associate his name with it forever. Therefore, it's always going to sell well.
God, man, I could sit here and talk to you all day just about freaking bourbon and music. God, that could be dangerous.
We'll have a version 2 next year where we just talk bourbon and music.
You know what? That may not be a bad idea.
Count me in, buddy. This is fun.
Oh, I think we'll have to do that. All right, so before I get to my last question, is there anything you want to add besides the website and everything? And tell everybody why they need to use Via Studio.
Yeah, sure. There is, so I essentially bought into the business back in 2003, and I recently sold the company / merged it with that was at the start of 2023. So eResources is our parent company now. And the reason that I did that is because essentially, like being in a small town like Louisville, you don't really have a large footprint. So now that we are part of a bigger organization, we've got a more national footprint. We've taken on more national companies. We've got more resources with things like web development, AI. We've started doing a lot of AI strategy and integration projects. In addition to just the branding and marketing and, website development that we do on that level. So, it's been a really awesome journey, honestly, like watching, because one person taking a company from, $2 million in revenue and growing it further than that is not easy. So that's the other piece that I have to help people understand with marketing is it will only get you so far. If you really want to grow, there's other business tactics that can be used to grow. You might have to sacrifice a little bit of your ego for that to happen, but that's business.
It's worth it.
But yeah, it's been great to see the team grow and evolve, and for us to be able to do more complex and complicated projects, digital transformation, over the past 2.5 years, almost 3 years now. So it's been really fun. Our team's amazing to work with. They've exceeded my capabilities now. So I'm a talking head compared to the amazing things that they can do.
And what's the website?
It's just https://via.studio. Or
so
if you
people.
You can go to viastudio.com and it will redirect, but
good.
I'm a fan of conciseness, so being able to just have via.studio makes me very happy.
All right, so my last question, and this is going to be scary, because I don't know what the question is. I don't know what the question is, so might be as scary. It's October. Pick a number between 1 and 100.
43.
Crap, I got to go backwards. 43. Why 43?
Because 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So what's next?
Oh, damn. You know what? And this question goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about, not the bourbon part. What's a skill you're grateful to have learned, even if it seemed insignificant at the time? Playing bass.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, the ability to connect with people on a human level. When I was young and really just was so invested in the work and was probably a little bit too obsessed with like building, my former business partner, when I first, I bought into the business. I didn't found Via Studio. I bought into it, and my business partner at the time, Kelly McKnight, I would get so frustrated because we'd go into a meeting and, an hour-long meeting, they'd spend the first 30 minutes talking about football and the game last night. And I was like, what does this have to do with anything? And, now I realize that connecting with people on a human level is actually important to winning trust and empathy and getting work done. So I see people that are employees or, people that I'm mentoring that are like, well, why can't we just start doing this? And it's like, well, you have to win trust. You have to win respect. You have to connect with people. Nothing moves forward if people don't trust you. So that it's a soft skill that can be very hard to learn, and I'm still not great at it, but I appreciate that I learned that early on. And it's not something, somebody might think that my answer would be learn AI or learn how to code or learn, Figma or Canva. Nope. Learn how to empathize with people.
Which is important, especially if you're in business.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to, any success, unless you're just a savant, any success in business and in your career has to be predicated on your soft skills. Can you read the room? Can you, come to some kind of compromise with somebody you don't work well with? If you can't do that, then you're probably not going to get very far.
Well, Jason, I want to thank you so much. And all right, so do you like old fashions?
I'm more of a fan of just neat because, but I do love an old fashioned. So, since you like it neat, that Von Payne that I told you about, once it comes in, I'll let you know how it is. I love it.
If it's good, I'll let you know. If it sucks, I'll let you know.
Oh, I'm just going to get it for the bottle. I need one of those bottles.
That bottle is awesome.
Yeah.
I know. It's like it's funny because there are some great looking bottles out there, and when you finish it, you don't want to throw them away.
Absolutely.
And my wife's like, well, what's that bottle for? I don't know. What do you want? You want to put lights in it, make it a candle or whatever?
I have a friend that
don't use the top.
The Crown Royal bottles, we talked about that earlier. I have a friend, because those bottles are so cool, he actually has a kind of a side art business where he paints them and decorates them because they're so interesting. So, yeah.
I always like saving the bags to keep changing.
That's perfect.
That was just me, though. So, Jason, thanks a lot, man. And we'll be talking again because I think we're going to have to definitely do an episode on music.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you about my DJ career, so we'll get there. Keep me on your list.
Well, there you got it, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. It takes a lot to put a podcast together, and my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them, and if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com. The Joppatown Lions Club. Serving the community since 1965. Visit them at joppatownlionsclub.org. And don't forget the E at the end of Joppatown because they're extraordinary.
The Harford County Health Department can help eligible pregnant women and children with low to average incomes get free health insurance through the Maryland Children's Health Program. Call 410-877-1040. That's 410-877-1040.